You can start, Nana.
Okay. Brahmara, you can mention about the break maybe a couple of days from now.
Okay.
Okay. And then make it very, very clear.
Couple of days, we have only 2 days now. Today is 20th.
Okay. Okay. From 24th only, 24th to 30th, and 1st October through 4th October, Sunita madam and you are sharing the burden, kada? That's okay. 5th and 6th will not be there. That you can announce.
Fine.
If you want to mention the reason also, you mention. That's okay.
Fine.
Right. Can I start?
Yes, please go ahead. Start.
Yeah. Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrusham Tattvamasyaadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami Shruti Smruti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutav Vande Bhagavanto Punah Punaha Sadashiva-samarambham Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru-paramparam Vande Guru-paramparam Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam Devim saraswatim chaiva Tato jayamudirayet. Adha Srimad Bhagavad Gita adha trutiyodhyayah karma yogaha Arjuna uvacha jayasi chet karmanaste mata buddhir janadana tatkim karmani ghore mam niyojayasi keshava vyamishreneva vakena buddhim mohayasiva me tadekam vada nischitya yena shreyohamapnuyam Shri Bhagavanuvacha Lokesmin dvividhanishta Pura prokta maya nagha Jnana yogena sankhyanam Karma yogena yoginam Na karmana manarambhat Naishkarmyam purushošnute Na cha sanyasana deva Siddhim samadhigacchati Nahi kaschit kshanamapi Jatu tishtatya karma krit Karyate hyavasha karma Sarva prakriti jairgunaihi Karmendriyani samyamya Yahaste manasa smaran Indriyadhan vimudhatma Midhyachara savuchyate Yestvindriyani manasa Niyamyarabhaterjuna Karmendriyai karma yogam Asaktas savishishyate Niyatam kuru karma tvam कर्मज्यायो ह्यकर्मणः शरीरयात्रापि च ते न प्रसिद्ध्येद कर्मणः यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र लोकोऽयं कर्म बन्धनः तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर सह यज्ञा प्रजा सृष्ट्वा पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः अनेन प्रसविष्यध्वम् एष वोस्त्विष्टकामधुक् देवान् भावयतानेन ते देवा भावयन्तु वः परस्परं भावयन्तः श्रेयः परमवाप्स्यथा इष्टान् भोगान् हि वो देवाः दास्यन्ते यज्ञभाविताः तैर्दत्तान प्रदायेभ्यो यो भुङ्क्तेस्तेन एव सः यज्ञशिष्टासिनः सन्तो मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः भुञ्जते ते त्वघं पापा ये पचन्त्यात्मकारणात् अन्नाद् भवन्ति भूतानि पर्जन्यादन्न संभवः यज्ञाद् भवति पर्जन्यो यज्ञकर्म समुद्भवः कर्म ब्रह्मोद्भवं विद्धि ब्रह्माक्षर समुद्भवं तस्मात् सर्वगतं ब्रह्म नित्यं यज्ञे प्रतिष्ठितम् एवं प्रवर्तितं चक्रं नानुवर्तयति हयः अघायुरिन्द्रिया रामः मोघं पार्थ स जीवति यस्त्वात्मरतिरेव स्यात् आत्मतृप्तश्च मानवः आत्मन्येव च सन्तुष्टः तस्य कार्यं न विद्यते नैव तस्य कृतेनार्धो न कृतेनेह कश्चन न चास्य सर्वभूतेषु कश्चिदव्यपाश्रयः तस्मादसक्तः सततं कार्यं कर्म समाचर असक्तो ह्याचरन् कर्म परमाप्नोति पूरुषः कर्मणैव हि संसिद्धिम् आस्थिता जनकादयः लोकसङ्ग्रहमेवापि सम्पश्यन् कर्तुमर्हसि यद्यदाचरति श्रेष्ठः तत्तदेवेतरो जनः स यत्प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तदनुवर्तते न मे पार्थास्ति कर्तव्यं त्रिषु लोकेषु किञ्चन नानवाप्तमवाप्तव्यं वर्त एव च कर्मणि यदि ह्यहं न वर्तेयं जातु कर्मण्यतन्द्रितः मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्या पार्थ सर्वशः उत्सीदेयुरिमे लोकाः न कुर्यां कर्म चेदहं शङ्करस्य च कर्ता स्याः उपहन्यामि मा प्रजाः सक्ताः कर्मण्यविद्वांसो यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत कुर्याद्विद्वांस्तदा सक्तः चिकीर्षुर्लोकसङ्ग्रहम् न बुद्धिभेदं जनयेत् अज्ञानां कर्मसङ्गिनां जोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि विद्वान् युक्तः समाचरन् प्रकृते क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः अहङ्कार विमूढात्मा कर्ताहमिति मन्यते तत्त्ववित्तु महाबाहो गुणकर्म विभागयोः गुणा गुणेषु वर्तन्त इति मत्वा न सज्जते प्रकृतेर्गुणसम्मूढाः सज्जन्ते गुणकर्मसु तान् कृष्णविदो मन्दान् कृष्णविन्न विचालयेत् मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि सन्न्यस्याध्यात्मचेतसा निराशीर्निर्ममो भूत्वा युज्यस्व विगतज्वरः ये मे मतमिदं नित्यम् अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानवाः श्रद्धावन्तो अनसूयन्तो मुच्यन्ते तेऽपि कर्मभिः एत्वेतदभ्यसूयन्तो नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतम् सर्वज्ञानविमूढांस्तान् विद्धि नष्टान चेतसः सदृशं चेष्टते स्वस्याः प्रकृतेर्ज्ञानवानपि प्रकृतिं यान्ति भूतानि निग्रह किं करिष्यति इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्धे रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ तयोर्नवशमागच्छेत् तौ ह्यस्य परिपन्थिनौ श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मात्सु अनुष्ठितात् स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावहः अर्जुन उवाच अध केन प्रयुक्तोऽयं पापं चरति पूरुषः अनिच्छन्नपि वार्ष्णेय बलादिव नियोजितः श्रीभगवानुवाच काम एष क्रोध एष रजोगुणसमुद्भवः महाशनो महापाप्मा विद्येनमिह वैरिणम् धूमेनाव्रियते वह्निः यथादर्शो मलेन च यथोल्बेनावृतो गर्भः तदा तेनेदमावृतम् आवृतं ज्ञानमेतेन ज्ञानिनो नित्यवैरिणा कामरूपेण कौन्तेय दुष्पूरेणानलेन च इन्द्रियाणि मनो बुद्धिः अस्याधिष्ठानमुच्यते एतैर्विमोहयत्येष ज्ञानमावृत्य देहिनम् तस्मात् त्वमिन्द्रियाण्यादौ नियम्य भरतर्षभ पाप्मानं प्रजहिह्येनं ज्ञानविज्ञाननाशनम् इन्द्रियाणि पराण्याहुः इन्द्रियेभ्यः परं मनः मनसस्तु परा बुद्धिः यो बुद्धेः परतस्तु सः एवं बुद्धेः परं बुद्ध्वा संस्तभ्यात्मानमात्मना जहि शत्रुं महाबाहो कामरूपं दुरासदम् ॐ तत्सत् इति श्रीमन्महाभारते शतसाहस्रिकायां संहितायां वैयासिक्यां श्रीमद्भीष्मपर्वणि श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे कर्मयोगो नाम तृतीयोऽध्यायः अथ चतुर्थोऽध्यायः अर्जुन उवाच श्रीभगवानुवाच इमं विवस्वते योगं प्रोक्तवानहमव्ययम् विवस्वान्मनवे प्राह मनुरिक्ष्वाकवे ब्रवीत्. Now we will revert to the 14th chapter. Brahmara, would you like to chant? Would you like to chant, Brahmara? Okay. Adha Chaturdasho.
Yes, Nana, I will chant. I will chant.
You start from the 6th verse and go on up to the 20th.
Okay.
And then revert to the 8th verse.
Okay.
Okay.
अथ श्रीमद् भगवद् गीता चतुर्दशोऽध्यायः गुणत्रय विभाग योगः श्रीभगवानुवाच तत्र सत्त्वं निर्मलत्वात् प्रकाशकमनामयम् सुखसङ्गेन बध्नाति ज्ञानसङ्गेन चानघा रजो रागात्मकं विद्धि तृष्णासङ्गसमुद्भवम् तन्निबध्नाति कौन्तेय कर्मसङ्गेन देहिनम् तमस्त्वज्ञानजं विद्धि मोहनं सर्वदेहिनां प्रमादालस्य निद्राभिः तन्निबध्नाति भारत सत्वं सुखे संजयति रजः कर्मणि भारत ज्ञानमावृत्य तु तमः प्रमादे संजयत्युत रजस्तमश्चाभिभूय सत्वं भवति भारत रजः सत्वं तमश्चैव तमः सत्वं रजस्तथा सर्वद्वारेषु देहेऽस्मिन् प्रकाश उपजायते ज्ञानं यदा तदा विद्यात् विवृद्धं सत्वमित्युत लोभः प्रवृत्तिरारम्भः कर्मणामशमः स्पृहा रजस्येतानि जायन्ते विवृद्धे भरतर्षभा अप्रकाशो प्रवृत्तिश्च प्रमादो मोह एव च तमस्येतानि जायन्ते विवृद्धे कुरु नन्दन यदा सत्त्वे प्रवृद्धे तु प्रलयं याति देहभृत् ततोत्तमविदां लोकान् अमलान् प्रतिपद्यते रजसि प्रलयं गत्वा कर्मसङ्गिषु जायते तथा प्रलीनस्तमसि मूढयोनिषु जायते कर्मणः सुहृतस्याहुः सात्विकं निर्मलं फलं रजसस्तु फलं दुःखम् अज्ञानं तमसः फलम् सत्त्वात् संजायते ज्ञानं रजसो लोभ एव च प्रमादमोहौ तमसो ततो ज्ञानमेव च ऊर्ध्वं गच्छन्ति सत्त्वस्थाः मध्ये तिष्ठन्ति राजसाः जगन्यगुणवृत्तस्था अधो गच्छन्ति तामसाः नान्यं गुणेभ्यः कर्तारं यदा द्रष्टानुपश्यति गुणेभ्यश्च परं वेत्ति मद्भावं सोऽधिगच्छति गुणानेतानतीत्यात्रीन् देही देहसमुद्भवान् जन्म मृत्युजरा दुःखैः विमुक्तो मृतमश्नुते.
Yeah, correct. 8th verse. Yeah, 8th verse we were almost completing yesterday. Before we take up any questions, please. Okay. Tamastvajnanajam viddhi mohanam sarvadehinam pramada alasya nidrabhihi tannibadhnati bharata. Hey Bharata, a descendant of Bharata Arjuna. Tamastu viddhi. Understand about tamas. May you know. Ajnanam, to be born of ignorance. This is where we said, why the other two are also born of ignorance? Why Bhagavan is specially making a mention of tamas only as though born of ajnanam? We will see that. Mohanam, to be that which deludes, okay? Which causes delusion, deludes people. Sarvadehinam, for all those who have bodies. For all those who have bodies is one thing. For all those who have body bhavana also is the other meaning. If you do not have the body bhavana, this tamas does not, it will be there, but it does not nibaddhanti. The last few words are nibaddhanti bharat. It does not bind you. Okay? So, that pramada alasya nidrabihi. Pramada is indifference. Okay? Udasina vadasinaha, as though unconcerned. Pramada alasya. Alasya is what? Laziness. Laziness and always late for anything. He will go to the airport after the check-in counters have closed. He will go to the railway station after the train has left. That kind of a thing. Alasya nidrabihi. He is very, very keen on spending his time sleeping. Nibadnanti, completely binds. Hey Bharata, hey descendant of Bharata, Arjuna, tamas, may you know, is born of ignorance and causes delusion for all those who have bodies. It binds the person completely by indifference, slothfulness, and sleep. We said we will cover what is this to be born of ignorance, and whereas sattva and rajas, it was not mentioned. There are two kinds of ignorance, avidya. One is called the Mula avidya, which all of us have got. Mula avidya is what? Atma, anatma, viveka rahitaha. We do not have that knowledge regarding Atma. And what is opposed to Atma is all anatma. That kind of a vivekam we do not have. That is because of the Mola avidya. It is a rooted avidya. Mola. Mola is what? The root. Mola avidya. Whereas there is another avidya called Tula avidya. T-U-L-A, you can say. Tula avidya. Tula avidya is that because of which you will not know what to do, when, and how to do what. None of those things. The example, classical example given for people stricken with the Tola avidya, that is people with the acute tamasic nature, how they behave is, supposing they are sleeping in a room. If suddenly from the roof there is a burning plank of the roof, wood, the wooden plank, if it falls onto his right side of the bed, you know what is he supposed to do at that time? He certainly wakes up. What is he supposed to do?
Get up
he must get out of the bed and make an effort to extinguish the fire and make an effort to inquire why the fire is happening. The house is on fire. He must do all that. No. You know what he does? Tola avidyavan purushaha. What does he do?
He turns to the other side and sleeps.
He turns to the left side and sleeps again. On the right side, the burning plank of wood has come. He looks at that and unconcerned, pramada, unconcerned, okay, indifference, alasya, he has to get out of the bed, alasya, slothfulness, and sleep. He will do that. This kind of a thing he does so many times. Supposing he is going in a car, suddenly the car has developed some problem, like a flat tire. He should know how to attend to the flat tire, right? If he does not know, he must wait for somebody to help him. You know what he does? He simply sits in the driver's seat and sleeps off. That kind of a slothfulness, that is called, it is born out of Tula avidya, T-U-L-A avidya. He has got the Mola avidya certainly, like the people who have got the Sattva guna and Rajoguna also. Tamoguna also has got the Mola avidya. In addition to that, he has got this, the born of ignorance, and that is the meaning. Okay? Can we go to the
Nana,
next
there is
Hmm?
one question regarding the Jada Vastus that we find in creation, like the mountains and trees and all of those that do not
Hmm.
move.
Hmm.
So are they, since they are also in creation,
Hmm.
what is their role in the evolution? Do they also evolve? What happens to them? Here we're talking of the human beings as having all these sattva, rajas,
They,
tamo gunas.
their evolution is like a mountain.
Hmm.
Mountain's evolution is dwindling in size year after year. That is because of the beating of the sun rays and beating of the wind and rain. Okay, that evolution is only a kind of a retrograde revolution, evolution for it. Okay, it as though devolves. And one thing, another thing, this Thavaram, they do not know that they exist. You know you exist, whereas a mountain does not know it exists. Sthavaram, Jangamam, Vyaptam. Yeah, about to ask a question.
So these gunas are only, they only pertain to human beings? Sattva, rajas, tamo gunas?
Sattva-rajastamo gunas pertain to those who have got the mind. These sattva-rajastamo gunas are there in the animals also, but predominantly they are tamoguna. Predominantly they are tamoguna.
Nanaji, a mind exists only in human beings?
Animals, birds, jalacharas, anything that has prana has the mind also. A simple little worm also has got a mind. A mosquito has a mind. Because mosquito has a mind, it is a mind to harm you and I. It's not limited to human beings.
Even plants have a mind,
Which one?
Plants also exhibit.
Exactly. Very
What
good point.
about
Even though plant is Stavaram, in a way it is not Stavaram in the sense, unlike a mountain, which does not have growth potential. Okay? And it keeps on getting beaten by sun rays, the wind and rain, and may decline in size. Whereas the plant, though it is Stavaram, it keeps on growing underneath the earth. That is how the plant is supported. Number one. Number two, the photosynthesis and all those things happen because it has got the ability to evolve. That also has the mind. Okay.
So do they have raga, dvesha, liking, pain, pleasure?
What is that question?
Do they have raga, dvesha then if they have a mind?
I do not know whether they have ragadvesha, but they are much better than us from the point of view of ragadveshas. When on a hot sunny day, you go take shelter under the canopy of a tree, big tree. The tree will be very, very happy to accommodate you and keeps on blowing comfortable, cool wind, is it not? It does not have the ragadveshas. Because why the ragadveshas are not there? These ragadveshas will come partly due to a kind of an element of competition also. An element of competition. Like, imagine you go back to your yesterdays when you were in school. In the school, there is a competition between you and the rest of the classmates. You would like to be number one always. Everybody would think like that. So you have a raga to be number one and dvesha to be dvesha against anybody else who is trying for the same spot. Is it not? Whereas the trees do not have that. The tree and adjoining tree is growing. The trees will accommodate that. There's not a problem. So any ragadvesha born out of this competitive spirit is not there. So too, they're happy with what they have. Bhagavan has kind of given them sunshine and given them wind, given them rain. That is their food. All these things they're happy with. There is no craving. There is no craving and there is no worry about tomorrow. Whereas all of us worry about not only tomorrow, the future years, and also the future of our progeny. So many things. All these will produce ragadveshas. The trees do not have.
Nanaji was wondering if like harsh weather, the plants change their what kind of leaves they would have. If there is a scarcity of water, the leaves become a little thicker, which retain more water. So it's not raga dvesha as such. With adaptation, they are evolving. So
it is their metabolism.
Hmm.
It is their metabolism, which is their swabhava. It is a God-given gift for them. In the autumn season, the trees fall off, the leaves fall off. Is it not? And come springtime, they develop beautiful new leaves, beautiful sprouts, new leaves. That is writ largely in the Swabhava of the Jagat created by Bhagavan.
It is in their prakriti.
You see, like for instance, you as a grihini, you tend to take care of the members of your family vis-a-vis their requirements, their food, and their comfort. Not only now, for all times to come. Think of a family of birds. The mother bird, does it think of providing for the children and the husband? They manage from time to time. They have no thought of tomorrow. They have no thought of hoarding. And this thinking of hoarding gives rise to what? Lobha, pravritirarambaha, karmanam ashamaspruhaha. That verse will come in this chapter itself. Okay? So all these things happen. That is part of the nature. That is part of the aghatita ghatana patiyasi maya. Maya has created you with the capacity to ask questions and created me to be in a position to answer to the extent I can. Whereas you can't stand in front of a tree and ask it questions. It may understand, but it does not have the capacity to respond to you. That is all writ largely in the womb of Maya. And what all Maya has created, everything is special. Everything is special. Supposing you happen to go into a forest. There one tiger sees you. The tiger does not debate whether to attack you or not. It simply attacks. That is its nature. And knowing its nature, you simply quickly jump into your car and vanish. That is your nature. All this is Prakriti Sambhavaha, Maya Sambhavaha. Okay, Can we go forward?
Yeah, just one last question. Have we evolved from these to get to a human life?
May have.
Have we evolved through this?
We don't know. We may have. We have, the Shastra says, you do not know. Ananta Koti Janmas earlier may have passed. And Ananta Koti Janmas may be in future for you. It depends on how we are making an effort to evolve in the right direction. If we are like this tamasic fellow, Pramada Alasya Nidravihi, then Ananta Koti Janmas are definite in future. Okay.
Do they go back to animal world again, or they remain humans?
You may not be an animal. You may simply end up as a rock. Suppose animal has got a mind, has got some faculties, and it is active. It has the 3 gunas. It depends. It depends on at the time of our passing away in this janma, leaving this body, what is uppermost in our mind? Is it sattva guna or rajo guna or tamo guna? Is it that we entertain the thoughts of football, or entertain the thoughts of cricket, or entertain the thoughts of ketaya? It depends on that. It will be based on that. Your next janma is Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevanam yaprayati samadbhavam yati naschatra samshayaha. In the 8th chapter, we have picked up this verse, isn't it? Even at the time of death also, Antakale cha mameva. That means what? Even during your lifetime, you keep on thinking about me. And that continuation, think about me at the time of departure from this world. If you do that, you will attain to me. That is, and not only that, Bhagavan said, Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam, whatever bhava you entertain at the time of death, yam yam vapi smaran bhavam, chejati ante kalevaram, at the end, at the time of leaving this body, kalevaram, tam tamevaiti kaunteya sada tadbhava bhavitaha, that they will become only that bhavana, because propelled by tadbhava bhavitaha. 8th chapter, we have covered this adequately. That's all it goes on. Now, my request to all of you is, don't you worry about what will be the next janma. You must worry about whether janma rahityam is there for us and what we ought to do. Okay. We must entertain such of those questions which are very good for our purogati. Right? So many questions may be there, answers may be there adequately. But the question, is it going to be a fruitful entertainment in the mind? Mind always requires some entertainment. Give it the proper entertainment and it will listen to you. You keep on showing it, a lot of movies on the TV, it always demands movies. Whereas you show on the TV something about some Mahatma, how he conducted his life, how he became an exemplar. Yajyada charati sreshtaha tattadevetaro janaha sahayat pramanam kurute lokaha tadanuvartate. That we have seen in the 3rd chapter, isn't it? So that is how we must make our mind prepared for the flights to the higher. Like it is said, sannyasa or karma yoga is not a matter of choice. It is a matter of your preparedness for what your mind is prepared. And how well you have striven for preparation of the mind. Okay.
Hariom Nanaji.
Yes.
For this, all sthavaram, mountains, trees, all these, isn't it? Are they those Suhran Mitra, right? God has created for teaching the human beings that how to be only useful without thinking of our own self, and how to remain steady, like mountains are always steady and stable, unshaken. Of course, the earthquake and other things definitely move them, but otherwise, on their own, they do not move. Same
But why
way,
are
they
you
are.
interested in that? My question is, why are you interested in that?
They are like selfless. God has created us, created them to um, learn from them. That's what I
Okay.
was thinking.
Take a thread out of their good conduct. You become selfless. That's all. What happens to them? Why is that a big question in your mind?
Only to
If
understand
they are being selfless,
creation.
they are giving you some direction how to be selfless, how to be helpful. You pick up those threads and be like them. Okay?
Okay, Nanaji. Dhanyavad.
Thank you. Yeah. So, descendant of Bharata, tamas may is born out of ignorance and causes delusion for all those who have bodies. It binds the persons completely by indifference, slothfulness, and sleep. Now, in this chapter, we will come across a lot of inputs based on which we can kind of analyze directly within ourselves, by ourselves, as to what kind of a person we are, whether we have the Sattva-guna pradhana mind or Rajoguna pradhana mind, or we are tamasic in nature, etc., etc. And also, these three gunas, they keep on playing a lot of games with each other. All those things, the slokas are there. When, like for instance, see, all of us have gone to schools and colleges. At the time of the exams, what is uppermost in our mind? Study the books and do the exams well. Is it not? And what is the guna that is pradhana guna for us at that time?
Sattva guna.
Sattva guna, isn't it? Sattva guna. And what happened to Rajoguna and Tamoguna, which are part of us, which are part of the mind? Because we are Mayodbhavam. And Maya has the three gunas. So we must have the three gunas. What happened to the Rajoguna and Tamoguna? The Sattva-guna, as though, will submerge the effects of the Rajoguna and Tamoguna, and it will be on the ascendancy itself. When you are very keen on studying and doing well in the exams, and at the end of the exams, what happens?
Tamoguna takes up.
For a couple of days, you tend to maybe celebrate that you have done the exam well and things like that. All your efforts are bearing fruit. Maybe you will have to wait for a few more weeks for the results. And afterwards, the third day onwards, after the exams, what do? You sleep off. You sleep off, unaware of time. And at that time, the second phase of activity, Rajoguna has as though subdued the Sattva-guna and Tamoguna. And in the third set of activities, where you are sleeping all the time, Tamoguna is on the ascendancy, and it will as though submerge the Sattva-guna and Rajoguna. All those verses are there in this. And when you have the Sattva-guna pradhana, how you behave is available here. When it is Rajoguna, what you will be. When it is Tamoguna, how you will be. And at the time of prayana, the final prayana, if any one of these gunas is there, what kind of a lokas you will attain to, all those things are there. All these are matter-of-fact statements. There are no means for you to debate on them, in the sense that if supposing somebody says, hey, you do this, you will cleanse your mind. You can keep on debating that. Here, there is no debate. When Sattva-guna is in the ascendancy, this is what will happen. It is an experience that you will have to gain, that's all. There's no debate. Okay? Now, Sattvam Sukhe Sangayati. Here, 9th verse. Sattvam, that Sattva-guna, Sukhe Sangayati, Raja Karmani Bharata, Jnanamamruchyatu Tamaha, Pramade Sanjayachyuta. Hey, Arjuna, Bharata, Sattvam, the Sattva-guna, Sukhe in the form of pleasure, Sanjayati, it binds. Rajaha, the Rajoguna, Karmani, in the form of action. Earlier, Rajoguna was mentioned as doing what? Does anybody remember?
Lobha, greed, and desire.
No. Rajoguna, what did it do to the mind?
It binds it with...
Rajo ragatmakam vidhi, Trishna sanga samudbhavam, Tannibadnati kaunteya, Karma sangena dehinam. Earlier we have seen, isn't it? That was perhaps the 7th verse or so. Can you go to the 7th verse? Yes. 7th, yes. Rajo ragatmakam vidhi. Ragatmakam vidhi means it has got the ability to color the mind. Trishna sanga samudbhavam tannibadnati kaunteya karma sangena dehinam. Yeah, get back to the 9th verse. There, it has a capacity to color the mind. And now what it's doing? Rajaha karmani bharata. This Rajoguna will propel you into activities. Jnana and jnanamavruchyatu tamaha pramade sanjayachyuta. As though covering the jnana, this tamoguna pramade sanjayachyuta. In that pramada guna, that is form of udasena vatu. That udasena is a wonderful quality. If out of jnana you can acquire that. But if it is out of ajnana, without your knowledge, you have already got it and you are not aware of it, it is dangerous. Bharata, Sattvam, Sukhe Sanjayati. In the form of pleasure, it will bind you. Rajas, it will bind you in karmani. Tamas, jnanam avruchya, covering knowledge, pramade, in the form of apathy, sanjayachyuta. That is, the jnanam avruchya means if we have covered that, tola avidya, that tola avidya, T-U-L-A avidya, that tola avidya, it will have, and it will be a very dangerous attitude on the part of a person who has the tamoguna. Bharata, sattva binds in the form of pleasure, rajas in the form of action, but tamas, covering knowledge, binds indeed in the form of apathy. Pramada, alasya, nidrabihi was mentioned in the earlier verse. All those things. Okay? Right. Now, this verse, this 10th verse, it tells you what we do during exam times and what we do immediately after the exams and what we'll do a couple of days after the exams. All those things, this 10th verse will clearly give us. Rajas tamascha vibhuyaha sattvam bhavati bharata. Rajas sattvam tamaschaiva tamas sattvam rajas tatha. Hey Bharata, I will read the Tatparya first. We'll get back to the Pratipadartha later. Hey Bharata Arjuna, Sattva arises overwhelming Rajas and Tamas, like it happened to all of us during our exam days. Sattva arises. It will be awake. It will be awake, burning midnight oil and completing the tasks of what we need to know, what we need to learn and kind of get into the mind for the time of the exams. Then the Rajas and Tamas have to take a back seat because of the preponderance of the overwhelming influence of Sattva Guna. Why does it happen? Because the free will is keen on acquitting yourself well in the exam. That is the free will which is deciding what is happening. Though you have all the three gunas, you have picked up Sattva Guna, hey, you be in the driver's seat. These two are the simple passengers. They shall not even talk because their talking is going to affect your driving. That's it. That's how the free will says. And Rajas and Tamas will be the simple passengers. And indeed, Rajas arising, when it arises, it overwhelms Tamas and Sattva. Like it happened a couple of days after the exams. You are very, very active, celebrative, in a mood to go to movies and meeting friends and things like that, checking with them. How did they do the exam? How did they answer that question? All those things. Then afterwards, you sleep off. When you sleep off, what happens? Tamas arises, overwhelming Rajas and Tattva. These are all the things all of us are aware of. These have been our experiences throughout our life thus far. Now, the Pratipadartha, Bhe Bharata, Sattvam, the Sattva, Rajas, Tamascha, Abhibhuyaha. Overwhelming Rajas and Tamas. Okay? Bhavati. What Bhavati? Sattvam Bhavati. Eva, indeed, Rajas, Sattvam Tamascha Abhibhuyaha. This overwhelming Sattva and Tamas, it will be on the ascendancy, Bhavati. Tada Tamas also, it will as though subdue Sattvam and Rajas and it will sleep off. Pramada alasya nidrabhihi tannibadhnati bharata. Next verse, please. Next verse, please. Yeah. Sarvadvareshu dehesmin prakasha upajayate jnanam yada tada vidyat vivruddham sattvamichyuta. Sarvadvareshu dehesmin prakasha upajayate. This has been our experience also. Jnanam yada tada vidyat vivruddham sattvamichyuta. When illumination, which is knowledge, is born in all the sense organs in this body, then may one know indeed that Sattva is predominant, is increased. In all the sense organs and in the mind, you have been extremely alert. You have picked up the slightest of sounds through the ear. You have picked up the most distant object through your eyes. You have picked up a change in the pattern of the wind through your skin. All those things. That means what? There is preponderance of Sattva Guna. And that Sattva Guna is as though flowing out through the sense organs. Yada, when Asmin Dehe, in this body, Sarvadvareshu, in all the sense organs, Prakashaha, illumination. Prakashaha means what? Alertness. All the sense organs are very, very alert. Jnanam. That is, through them only you pick up the knowledge of the external world, isn't it? The empirical knowledge is picked up by the sense organs. Those are the means of knowledge passed on to the mind, which will analyze and come to a conclusion through the buddhi. Upajayate is born, tada. Then sattvam vivruddham, that sattva has increased. Iti, you have to understand. Iti vidyat, may you know. Illumination, which is knowledge, is born in all the sense organs in this body, then may one know indeed that Sattva is on the ascendancy. It has increased. Now what happens when Rajoguna is on the increase? Lobha pravrittirārambaha karmanāma shamaspruha rajasyetāni jayante Vivruddhe Bharatarshabha. These are all matter-of-fact statements. These have been the experiences of everybody. That is how they have become matter-of-fact statements. Hey Bharatarshabha, hey Arjuna. Elsewhere, Krishna will say, hey Purusha Vyaghra. Very rarely he will use that word Purusha Vyaghra. And amongst the people, you are like the tiger. Here Bharatarshabha, you are like the bull amongst the Bharatas. Lobaha, the greed. Pravrittihi, physical restlessness. Karmanam ashamaha, that is karmanam ashamaha, undertaking of activities. Okay. And the restlessness. Karmanam arambaha, sorry. Karmanam arambaha ashamaha. Shama is what? Shama is manonigraha. And not having that manonigraha, that is shanti in the mind, which you can develop by shama, that ashamaha, it is the opposite of shama. You are restless. Like the earlier example I was giving, when we were in the school, we wanted to be number one, and there was competition. And when you think of the other one, who is your most close competitor, you are very restless. And your activities are propelled by that restlessness, that ashamaha, and that competition. Karmanam arambaha. You start reading the books again and again and again, and keep on checking the questions and find out the answers, all those. You are very, very restless. That kind of a longing will take you forward in your pursuit. Nothing wrong. Etani, these. Rajasi vivruddhe. When Rajoguna has increased, Jayante. Iti. You have to know. Earlier verses said what? You have to know. Then, foremost in the line of Bharata, greed, physical restlessness, undertaking of activities, mental restlessness, longing, these are born when Rajas has increased. You ask any sportsman, he will confirm to this, that how beautifully Bhagavan has said, how lovely, what a wonderful coach Bhagavan could have been. Hey Bharata, greed, I want to win. Physical restlessness, you keep on doing practice and things like that. And undertaking of activities, practice and activities in respect of that. Mental restlessness, you know your opponent is not a mean fellow, and how to get rid of his ascendancy, and he's trying to win. You have to win. You must shoot the first goal. You must get the first primary runs. In the T20, you must put on the board some 220 runs, and then that will perhaps assure you of victory. All these things, restlessness. Is it not a normal thing for all sportsmen to understand this? Aprakasho apravrittisya pramado mohayevacha tamasyetani jayante vivruddhe kurunandana. When tamas is vivruddhe, then that is on the ascendancy, what all will happen? Aprakasho. With the Satvaguna, what? Prakashaha was mentioned. Aprakashaha, total darkness. His mind is totally dull. He is unable to think. Aprakasho, apravrittisya. Like the Rajoguna fellow, who is very restless and into activities. This fellow is apravrittisya. No activity at all. Pramada alasya nidrabihi pramada. Udasina vatasinaha. Because of the tamoguna pradhana. Pramada, nidra, alasya, pravrittisya, aprakasho, apravrittisya, pramado, mohayevacha, delusion. He does not know what is happening. He is kind of dumbfounded. Tamasyetani jayante vivruddhe kurunandana. Hey Kurunandana, hey Arjuna. Kurunandana. Kuru was his ancestor, because of which the Kurukshetra has come. He was a very great emperor, Kuru. And all these belong to the Kuru family. Even the Pandavas are Kauravas because they belong to Kuru. Okay. Kuru Nandana, aprakashaha, dullness, apravrittihi cha, absence of activity, pramadaha, indifference, mohaha evacha, and indeed delusion. Etani, all these things. Tamasi vivruddhe, when tamas is on the ascendancy, it has increased. Jayante, it is born. Hey, joy of the Kuru family. Dullness and absence of activity, indifference, and indeed delusion, these are born when tamas has increased. Is it not the experience of all of us? One time or the other, this kind of a thing happened to us. That is what Bhagavan is saying. These are matter of fact statements by Bhagavan, right? We'll cover.
Nana, I have one question.
Tomorrow, all questions tomorrow. We're already on to 8 o'clock.
Sure.
Pardon me.
No
Okay?
problem. Yeah.
Please don't forget to ask the question tomorrow.
Yes, no problem.
We'll certainly go through that. Hari Om, everybody. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. I forgot to mention, I don't know, Brahmara may have mentioned to you people. Tomorrow we will be closing early. By 7:30 we will close. And because of that, I will not be chanting the 4th chapter. I will chant that the day after. So in order to gain a little time to cover a few verses, to cover and understand what Bhagavan intends us to understand. Okay? A little more time we will have for the verses. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Dhanyavad Nanaji.
Dhanyavad.